Okay, friends, we're now to the part of the story where a $30 Aldi angle grinder that I got for the very reasonable price of free, thanks Johannes, gets us out of months and months of dealing with health and safety at QUT. So we're going to do something really fucking unsafe, and do not do this at home.
That's heaps sick, eh?
Hi all, bit of a different video today. Welcome to my day job. I am an isotope ratio mass spectrometer technician. What a mouthful. A lab technician. This is a Circon 2022 IRMS, and its shelf price last time I checked is a lot, $300,000 easy. And today we're going to fix it with an angle grinder because we can, and because to try and get access to a metal lathe at QUT would be 3 months of health and safety training and, I don't know, kissing a lot of ass, and just not something that I really want to do.
Send these foul beasts into the abyss!
But honestly, this is going to work, and someone, my supervisor actually, just gave me an angle grinder, and I want to show him how this can be used to fix a very expensive piece of scientific equipment. So, what's our problem today? This is a semi-auto sampler attached to a solid sample IRMS. What's going to happen? Oh, line's going up. Line's going up. That's what it's all about, folks. And what this machine essentially does is separate stable isotopes through bending atoms of a very, very similar weight, similar but different. And why would you do that? Well, I am literally co-authored on a few papers on this, but we use it specifically for nitrogen fertilizer tracing. So we use isotopes of 15N. We also do a bit of carbon fractionation work with 13 carbon. And honestly, that is some of the least exciting stuff that you can do with isotope ratio mass spectrometers. We've got 2 of them in here, by the way. I'll leave that to you to do some Googling and have a look. It's very interesting. But I want to give you a look at this little abortion, which is a perfect example of a device engineered by scientists. Yes, it works. It actually works pretty well. But there are some glaring flaws in it that really annoy me, and I have been battling for some time now. And we're going to fix it. I'm just sick of it. It's to the point of annoying me now, and we're going to fix it, and we're going to fix it properly. So, this is the part that's broken. This is what we're going to work on. This is essentially the part that transfers a solid sample. It reciprocates like this. It'll transfer a solid sample from the carousel here into a helium saturated zone prior to going into the combustion tube inside of the IRMS. Now, to actuate the carousel as well, it has this little part that sticks out. Let me just show you this. Put it on a piece of paper I've prepared. It has this little part. As this little deck reciprocates back and forward and shifts samples, it also moves the carousel using this tiny little extrusion on the. Now, a lot of my audience, you guys are, pretty clued in, hey, and already some of you are going to notice the problem with this. There is a really large force that's put into this little joint. Now, this has backed out, it's stripped out a few times. There is quite a lot of force involved in actually rotating this deck. And we use these machines often. We put a lot of samples through them. And it's just time that this gets fixed. Maybe a Circon engineer will see the problem and hopefully sympathise with it. And we're going to take it home, and very soon I'm going to fix this properly. So what we have, the reason that this has failed is the fixing mounts for this little piece here are far undersized, and there is just too much stress going through it. This has stretched at one point and then eventually sheared. I think my mistake was probably not replacing the bolt as it stood previously. Off camera already today, what I've done is I've actually drilled and tapped this for M4 I couldn't tell you what this hole actually. This is a perfect 3mm hole, but I promise you that it wasn't an M3 screw that was in there. It's a bit of a weird one. So what we're going to do is slowly step out the diameter of this hole in here to match an M4 shanked screw. I got this one here. I want that shank nice and snug inside of this piece, and I also don't mind a little bit of screw bite through this piece, which it wasn't previously. It was nearly, I'm not going to say it was flapping in the breeze, but it was loose as, and I wasn't really happy with it. Filled it with Loctite, clearly didn't work. It's aluminium. I don't mind if this thing bites a little bit. So we're going to grab that angle grinder, and we're going to do something that's far more unsafe than just using a fucking metal lathe, but here we are. This is a university full of very smart people making very smart decisions, this place. What we're going to do, currently the M4 cap screw head doesn't sit very nicely in that recess. Now, although I could get away with just blocking that in and having the oversized screw here, now that we've got an angle grinder, we've done this before on the Jaguar, actually. We've done this before on the Jaguar, played around with dodgy metal lathe techniques without metal lathes. What I'm going to do is take a very small amount of material off the edge of this cap screw, drill out the inside of this, and hopefully we're going to end up with something that sits nice and snug, just like this one. This is an M4, and it's going to hold this nice and tightly, and that way I never have to pull this thing apart again, because I'm getting a little bit sick of it. Alright, I'll make some space for you, as the bottom rung is currently unoccupied. It makes for a great set. Alright friends, we're back. So the first question, why have I wrapped it in cling film? That's to protect the working surfaces of the machine and to prevent cross-contamination, because this place is a bit of a laboratory on its own. What I'm about to do may look quite dodgy. I promise you it's not as dodgy as it seems, and I wish I had some empirical evidence to back this up. These are the three sizes of drill bit that span between, I think, about 3.2 millimeters and 3.92, which is where I want to end up. And I promise you that by going in slower increments, smaller increments like that, so at the end of the day I don't have a drill press, that's the point. By doing this prevents kind of a wandering bore, I suppose. This keeps that bore hole much more accurate in the lack of a drill press. At the end of the day, this isn't as important as it seems either, and I will show you as an example. This is Sercon's work. You know, that's flapping in the breeze there. So really, this will be an upgrade. I'm just going to get to work. We'll be fast forwarding through it. See you soon. Alright, let's just stop and take a moment and have a look at our borehole. Looking really good in there. So remember, we both have to expand this inner hole as well as reduce the width of the cap screw to fit in that recess. Now the reason I don't want to just kind of bust out this recess to fit the M4 is because I'm worried that I'm actually going to break out the edges here. So it's easier, well it's not easier, it's better to reduce the size of the cap screw. So yeah, let's keep going. I just paused the video there because I was wondering if I had anything that was a bit closer to where I'm after. So my shank is 3.82, I think. No, 3.89, and this is 3.92. And I've only got like half mil increments, so no luck there. This will be okay though. Let's keep pressing ahead. Mate, yeah, quite good. Happy with that. So that should, in theory, let's try it out live on camera, eh? That should drop an M4 right into it. Oh, nice and snug, yeah. That's what we're looking for, friends. So the next step, we'll get the angle grinder out. Do not do this at home, and I'm deadly serious. Like, we're about to bypass one of the pretty serious safety features on this to do this. But I'm just showing you because it can be done, and I've done this many times before. So what we're going to do is basically grind down the edge of this cap screw, which I already have chucked up here, in a drill. And I also have the direction of rotation of the grinder here labeled, because that's also important. We need to contra-rotate the piece that we want to grind against that. And we want to take it nice and slow, and we want to, well, I guess just be nice and accurate. This is possible. This works, and it's not at all as bad as it probably looks. We'll see. Yeah, we might get blood on camera here in a sec. See you soon.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Peculiar situation where I thought I'd give myself a little action for free. Walking down on Great Street when I saw you tell something about you up. My finger discount was for me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Who was that pig that was just sucking on my dick? I'd like to take it once again for the free ride. But since I got AIDS and the rest will go away, but please don't question me because I do it twice.
Okay, friends, we're now to the point where this thing actually fits pretty well. And I'm going to go now to using some wet and dry to basically just lap it in. Like that's how good you can get this. Alright, friends, so let's survey the damage. Let's do this live on camera, actually. It's a snug fit. It's not tight in there at all, and it shouldn't be. And I'll also point out that the top of this little cap screw here, that was also the same with the previous screw that was in there. So let's try and get this in live on camera. Remember, I've already threaded and tapped to M4 today, so that's going in there quite nicely. So in summary, functionally we haven't changed anything. All we've done is beef this up, and hopefully to the point where I never have to touch it again. Now, before final assembly, I intend to use one of my most evil and reserved weapons called Red Loctite. Mechanics will call it "fuck you" Loctite. It means it'll never come apart again. We are a little bit restricted in the duggers that we can put through this, because this is just billet aluminium, and this is a steel screw. You get too tight on this, it'll strip the lot out. So a bit of FT Loctite, and I guess we'll put it back together. Yeah, sounds good. So the final problem that I'm having to think about, friends, is the tension applied through these 4 bolts that fix the top of this housing here to that sliding Teflon block that we repaired earlier. Now, this is kind of the frontal view of this little piece in here. I probably should have shown it earlier, but this little piece in here is set upon with a couple of little ball bearings that allows it to align perfectly to the deck on that Teflon piece that we repaired. And there is no information available, because of course why would Circon send us this information, as to the tension that we need to be putting through these bolts to basically fix this top housing onto the sliding part here. Now, too loose, and we will be leaking a whole bunch of helium. I won't go too far into the mechanics of this thing, but just know that if it's loose, it'll lose a lot of helium. And too tight, and we run the risk of destroying that Teflon bearing surface, and it is actually proud of the steel part that we worked on. Or it just binds up completely and we no longer have the ability to turn the carousel or move the machine when we apply air pressure to it. So what I've done actually is I've actually gone tight, not FT, but tight, you know, it's tight in there. Got a whole bunch of these little spring washers arranged in such a way that I think really gives us a lot of, how would you say it, breathing room in this area. So all of them, I've tightened all of them, then I've backed them out basically half a turn at a time until I'm pretty happy with how it's sounding and how it's sliding. So I actually reckon we'll probably solve a couple of leaks here as well, because it is a little bit tighter than what it was before. Okay friends, so we're nearly done, and the final step is setting the endpoints on the machine correctly. So basically we have a pneumatic cylinder in here which will push to the extremes on either end, and we want to make sure that those extremes align with the hole where the sample drops into that helium filled chamber that we were talking about. So any misalignment here and these holes will be on the piss, so you just kind of need to make sure that this is all set and correct, and as of 2 minutes ago it is. So let's put it all back together. Okay, so you'll hear it's a little bit slower. I think it's a little bit longer to move that panel, but that means that we're sealing up quite well in there. Quite happy with that.